We all know the Pittsburgh Steelers love building up a strong defense and having the most expensive defense in the NFL. But this offseason, the Pittsburgh Steelers went absolutely overboard on it, having more than $29 million plus more than any other team spent on the defensive side of the ball. But first, before I get more into it, however, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. Also like this video. Now, let's get right back into it. So, every single year, the Pittsburgh Steelers are the highest paid defense in the entire NFL. For example, last season as well, the highest paid defense with Minkah Fitzpatrick, Patrick Queen, Cameron Hayward, TJ Watt, and others. But now this offseason, they've traded for players, gave out contract extensions to players, making them the highest paid defense in the NFL by more than $29 million compared to the next team. And they've gone overboard on the situation. Because when you look at this, with Jalen Ramsey's deal now adding to the Pittsburgh Steelers, they are spending $179 million on defensive players. And that's number one in the NFL, like I said, by $29 million. And then when you also throw in the fact that Mike Tomlin is a defensive head coach and he is making a $20 million salary, that is about $200 million spent just on the defense side of the ball alone. And the point is, the Steelers need to be the best defense in the NFL in order to keep this up. Because last season, they weren't the best defense in the NFL, even though they're spending all that money. So hopefully this offseason, they've added even more to this defense that makes them a better defense. Because how are you going to spend that much on players to be the best defense, most expensive defense, but then you always end up falling apart late towards the end of the season, and the defense doesn't do anything. It just doesn't make sense, and the Pittsburgh Steelers have went even more overboard than they have in recent years. So when you look at the defensive numbers on the cap compared to the offense numbers on the cap, the Pittsburgh Steelers, like I said, $179 million is being spent on the defense, and $100 million is being spent on the offense. So they're spending almost double the amount on the defense side of the ball than the offense of the ball. And I'll get more into that in a different video, but that's maybe why the lack of production isn't there. And maybe that's why the defense gets worn out, because the defense is always on the field and the offense isn't being built up enough because the offense isn't being spent on. So hopefully the Pittsburgh Steelers this offseason, they've changed that fact, and hopefully the offense is still able to step up even though the money isn't being spent there. And hopefully the defense side of the ball is able to get off the field quickly because they're going to be older. They're going to be more expensive. So they should be able to get the job done. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, the cap space in the NFL is $279 million. And $179 is spent on the defense. Plus the head coach. So basically $200 million. And to be honest with you, I'm saying it's going overboard. But that number is going to get even higher. Because when you think about it, TJ Watt is still holding out for a contract. And this season, he's not making that much money compared to what he will be making on his next deal. And he more than likely will almost double it. So even though the Pittsburgh Steelers are spending this much money on defense, expect a TJ Watt contract to get done. And then that value is going to go up by another $20 million against the cap on the defense of the ball. So they'll be spending just $200 million alone on the defense, not even including the head coach in which I'm just throwing out there. So that TJ Watt contract will get done, and it will be even more expensive towards the defense side of the ball. And I'm saying they're going overboard on defense. Well, they're going to go even extra overboard once that contract gets done. So TJ Watt against the cap will be like 40 plus million because he's looking to be the highest paid defense player in the entire NFL other than the quarterbacks that are getting paid. He's looking to beat out the Myles Garrett contract, and Myles Garrett's being paid 40 plus million. So TJ Watt, expect that money to go even higher for the defensive cap. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, they don't have a problem spending on defense. They've always done it. Whether it's Minkah Fitzpatrick, giving out the highest contract to him as a safety when he was here. You look at Cameron Hayward being paid in the top 3 inside defensive line throughout his career. You look at TJ Watt on his last contract being the highest paid edge rusher. Patrick Queen getting the highest paid contract the Pittsburgh Steelers have ever handed out at the defensive or even offensive free agent additions. They weren't ever afraid to spend on this defense. And that's not the point. The point is, are they going a little bit overboard, spending too much on the defense compared to the offense? Obviously, as a fan, you always want your team to be aggressive, going to try to find the best guys out there. And that's what they did this offseason, going to get Jalen Ramsey and going to get someone who's also going to be making a high amount of money on the defense side of the ball. Of course, you want that to add to your team, get the best guys. But sometimes you have to realize, hey, maybe we should target the offense side of the ball a little bit more than just the defense side of the ball. That's all I'm saying here. Because just to break it down, the last few years, the Pittsburgh Steelers have been the highest paid defense in the NFL. And what do we say about that team? They're good towards the beginning of the season, throughout the middle of the season, but then towards the end of the season, they start breaking down. They start laying off these high, huge number of games in which teams are running all over them. And we wonder why. We wonder why the team breaks down towards the end of the season almost every single year and they get eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. Well, it's because all this money is being spent on the defense side of the ball. And more than likely, these players are older. For example, Cameron Hayward is old. TJ Watt's getting up there. Now, Jalen Ramsey is going to be up there in age. So these players are on the older side in which the Steelers end up spending this money on. And this money is being spent so much on the defense side of the ball that when the offense is on the field, they're going 3 and out. They're getting off the field really quickly, in which it puts the defense on the field more. And the defense is getting stops towards the beginning of the game. But because they're on the field so much, they're getting worn down. And they can't make stops every single possession and hold the opposing team's offense to 0 points, to low points every single game, every single possession. No, that's just not realistic. Eventually, the offense is going to score for the other team, even if it's the highest paid defense in the NFL. Even how good the defense is playing, the other team's still going to score. And when your own offense, the Steelers' offense, can't retaliate, can't stay on the field, can't score points to keep up with the team, it puts more pressure on your defense to get stops, and it wears them out because they're always going to be on the field, and your offense is just never on the field. So if you get a balanced offense, a balanced defense, and both of them are putting up numbers, and they're actually able to stay on the field, put up numbers, it gives a break for your defense. So the Steelers are going overboard to build this defense, but that's what's been happening the last few years. They just get worn out by the end of the season, and then this defensive cap means nothing because the best defense in the NFL, supposedly, based off the numbers, it just gets worn out and it just ends up not working out for the team. So that's why you have to think, are the Steelers going a little bit overboard now? Just spending so much on this defense. Is it really going to help them? Because their offense can't do anything. So the defense, what's it going to do? That's just my thoughts on this. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. How do you feel about the Pittsburgh Steelers spending more than $29 million more than any other team on the defense of the ball? Do you think they're going overboard? Do you think the Pittsburgh Steelers should even out and spend more on the offense than just spending money on the defense? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Me personally, I think they should balance it out a little bit. I know it's a little bit hard because most of your top guys are on the defensive side of the ball, but sometimes you have to get rid of some to add more talent to the opposite side, which is offense. So you trade away George Pickens to add players on defense, but maybe you should have kept him. Or maybe you should have kept some other players and went out and traded for offensive players instead. But no, it seems as though the Pittsburgh Steelers are adding to this offense through the draft, through rookie contracts and young guys, but then adding to this defense through making big splash moves, through trades, and through free agency, giving out huge contracts. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this topic, and also make sure you subscribe to the channel for notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news, updates, highlights, analysis reports. Everything surrounding this Pittsburgh Steelers football team will be covered as training camp is rolling along here in a week. With all highlights and analysis of every single practice will be on the channel. Every new guy that we've added, you'll see a sneak preview of them in practice and what they're going to be bringing to this team this season, like Jalen Ramsey and others. So make sure you stay tuned for the best spot for everything Pittsburgh Steelers football. And that's it for me. I'll see you guys all later. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.